We begin Maroon and White Universe, as we do. We got a bunch of the mid-season accolades. Baseball, 3 Aggies popped up. Caden Sorrell, Nico Pertita, and Boston Kellner. Sorrell, mid-season College Player of the Year watch list. Pertita was named to the mid-season College Freshman of the Year watch list. Both Baseball America. Perfect game, Sorrell, mid-season second-team All-American. Partita, freshman All-American first team. Kellner, freshman All-American second team. And it's funny, Gavin Grahovic, I guess his late surge, 5 homers, 3 days, didn't quite bump him up for any watch lists or All-American type teams. If he continues on this surge, we'll wait for the final No More Watching and the final All-American teams to be announced. I expect to see him make some of those. But Caden Sorrell, he's been hitting like he's making up for lost time. Pertita and Kellner have been brilliant. As we all know, the Aggie offense, period, has been nothing short of brilliant, too. Coming up tonight, 6 o'clock, game 1, Aggies, Vanderbilt. Let's go. Same pitching weekend rotation. Shane Sadeo takes Thursday. Weston Moss will take the Friday. Aiden Sims has the Saturday. This is the Easter weekend series, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I have an expectation there'll be a doubleheader tomorrow on Friday. We've already seen the rain. It's supposed to blow out here, 1, 2, 3 o'clock. Tonight's game's supposed to be fine. No weather threat. I believe Saturday we have inclement weather. We could see, I expect to see a doubleheader Friday. So that's what I expect. There's no announcement. There's nothing official. So I'm not making any kind of, here's what's happening. No, it's what I'm expecting. You will hear A&M Vanderbilt, all the games, no matter when they're played, here on the Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Of course, you can listen on the Zone app. You can listen at radioagaland.com, and you can tell Alexa, play Zone 1150. Another key series, it'll be the 4th. We'll be 40% of the way done. SEC play. Next week, we'll start making some definitive statements about Aggie Baseball 2026. I wanted to wait for the end of the first month. I do feel safe that definitively this Aggie offense is fun. The Aggie offense is really good. The Aggie pitching, we'll wait for the end of the weekend. If Vanderbilt's throwing these 4 or 5 freshmen every weekend, I think the Aggie offense should eat. Vanderbilt, they hit the long ball too. Aggie pitching loves to give up the long ball. This will be an interesting series. I can't wait. A&M, I think, the word must win this series for any of the upper level goals. If they lose the series, I don't think the season's over. I think they could still make the NCAA tournament. But for upper level goals, what's that, Lou? Oh, thanks for asking. Great question. Like hosting. I think they must win the series. 2 out of 3 works fine. When we took a look at the SEC standings, you have the top 4, and I think the top 4 probably won't. I don't know who will finish 1, 2, 3, 4, but I think those top 4 teams, and that's Mississippi State with Texas, with Florida, I think they're going to stay the top 4. I don't know if there's anyone else who behind that pack could break into that. But after that, I don't know which team figures it out, which team has someone emerge. A&M, it's simple. It's the pitching that has to figure it out. But we know this stuff. Is it in there or is it not? So I think Aggie baseball is pretty straightforward. How about you? And they got roughed up by top 10 teams. They're facing not top 10 teams. And something that concerned me from the Missouri series is still watching Sadeo and Moss getting roughed up by not top 10 teams. Vanderbilt can hit. Let's see how the challenge goes. Staying on the diamond, of course, Aggie softball hosting number 11, Georgia. Aggie softball has a great schedule this year. They have a lot of wins still ahead of them. This is that mid-tier challenge. And like they said it yesterday, nothing's changed in 24 hours. I think this is where you get to the winner of this series stays as a favorite to host NCAA postseason, because you probably will have 10 SEC schools that should host. You won't have 10 SEC schools hosting. These are the kind of series that decide who gets to be the 8th host school and who ends up being on the road despite they should be hosting. Another need to win. Why? It's not about making the postseason. It's about maybe hosting. You would have the resume, but they're not going to have 10 host schools. So Aggie softball needs to beat Georgia. Georgia's 11, A&M's 15. A&M has not beaten top 25 teams this year. Georgia's 11. I find this to be a fascinating series. I was taking a look. I always check out, okay, where are you going to find the games, TV? I know radio, like Aggie softball, all 3 games, Willie 1550 AM, radioaggieland.com. Maybe you're new to town. Hi, hello, and welcome. Willie 1550 is a part of Brian Broadcasting, just like The Zone is a part of Brian Broadcasting. You hear A&M football, basketball over on News Talk 1620 94.5, Brian Broadcasting. We are your flagship stations for Aggie Athletics. Brian Broadcasting is your home for Aggie Athletics. And I still check around to see, okay, is it TV? Because, am I watching SEC Plus? If I got a busy day, I'm going to be out on the road. Of course, I'm listening on the flagship stations, Willie, Zone, WTAW. And I noticed for TV, and I think it's Aggie softball, the 3rd game, that's going to be a national broadcast. And there's Amanda Scarborough, Texas A&M softball Hall of Famer, Amanda Scarborough. Long time ESPN, probably the best they got for softball, Amanda Scarborough. I knew her back in her playing days, called games. I remember the first game of any kind she called was radio. She had gotten injured and got permission to actually call color for a radio game. And remember, and it was a game that it was on the Zone HD. That's how Aggie softball got its start, is the Zone used to have an HD channel. And I offered it up to Aggie Athletics. Aggie softball said, put all the games there. Yeah, all you want. And they put the whole schedule on there. And I don't know if it was the Big 12 tournament or right before. And, Amanda's on color. I'm listening and I went, oh my God. She is this is a college kid who'd never called anything before. And I went, natural. It was obvious kind of from the first time that if she chose that path, and all these many years later, and she's doing ESPN, she's calling games from the College World Series for their 2 team, and she's just phenomenal at what she does. It always brings a smile to my face when I hear her, see her, catch her calling games. She's absolutely amazing at what she does. And she's built her softball empire. She's on the primary softball podcast that ESPN does for softball. Yeah, she's phenomenal. And it always brings a smile to my face. Again, I remember her playing. She was on a team that, College World Series national runner-ups. They lost to Arizona State. She got injured that year. And the year before, they made this unexpected run to OKC. What a team that was. What a fun team that was. And that was the Scarborough, Gibson, Hinshaw, Jamie Lowe. That whole team was incredible. They were just fun to root for. So, yeah, just a little Lou's life back in sports, calling games, softball fan junkie, seeing Scarborough's name on the call sheet. That gets a heck yeah from me each and every time. Heck yeah. So the Diamond Sports, it all starts tonight. And they're both in very key series, kind of in two different ways. For Aggie Baseball, who are they? And upper level goals. But for Aggie Softball, you beat a Georgia so that if the committee has to choose who's going to be the 8th, 7th, host site from the SEC, and they're going to have to pick between two teams whose resumes say they are hosting, but they can't let everyone host. That's why you beat a Georgia. Separate yourself. 979-693-1150. You know that number. It's the D4 Land Services hotline where you can call me, but really it's the text line number. Questions, comments, opinions, what's on your mind as we start on a Thursday, I know, but it's Easter weekend. People are going to be busy Sunday. What's on your mind? You nervous about Aggie baseball? Excited for Aggie softball? Are you drooling over the idea that Aggie football might have the number one class in 2027? You can text. Are you celebrating the first place Houston Astros and the demise of the second place Rangers? Are you like me and you realize we're about 2 weeks away from the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs, which are the greatest playoffs in the history of all of sports? Period. End of that conversation. Where are you at right now as a sports fan? Spring football's been quiet, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because normally in the spring, if we're talking about football, the only news you can get is bad news, whether it's an injury or if you're Georgia, you're just scared of the latest police report. So I always feel like when it's quiet, it's usually good. That just means they're working and everybody's just taking care of their business. So if you want to text, where is your headspace at as a sports fan right now? That works for me. When we return, I don't know. We got Astros, Rangers, NCAA enforcement/rules committee put forward a bunch of rules that are never going to happen. So I don't know. I actually for 2 minutes was excited about it. And then I realized, yeah, but none of this is ever going to happen. So then I wasn't anymore. We'll be right back. We're just getting started. It is the Louie Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio, Thursday on The Zone.
You can hear the madness of March on Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
I do want to do some Astros and Rangers. The MLB season is, I guess this would technically be the 7th day. We're about to end the first full week, 7th day here MLB. It's kind of funny. And I know it's true. A lot of people are like, oh, man, I haven't even had time to look at that yet. Aggie baseball rolling. Things are starting to get serious. Aggie softball rolling, getting serious. People are still flying high from buckyball. Fair enough. I love Major League Baseball. I do. And I think ABS has added a very fun, and I do mean fun and entertaining element to it. Yesterday, Texas Rangers and Chip Howard of Chip Howard Sports Talk Legend joined me yesterday talking about believing that maybe the Rangers are going to clinch, the division by Friday. But on the way towards that, they absolutely stumbled, fumbled, and they lost yesterday to Baltimore, of all teams, to the Orioles. Nathan Eovaldi, maybe it's retirement time for him. 4 innings, 6 runs, 8 hits. Eovaldi, that's me taking the first initial. But Eovaldi starting the year with an 11.42 ERA. Bullpen a little leaky from there. It just wasn't good. Brutal, matter of fact. 4 and 6. Wyatt Langford, $1.43 to start the year. I got news for you. I do not anticipate the Rangers winning the division if Wyatt Langford finishes the year hitting $1.50. That's just me. So what's next for the Texas Rangers? Travel day? Travel home. Home opener tomorrow, Friday. The Cincinnati Reds. Yesterday I mentioned it. I'll say it one more time today, but do the schedule makers hate the Texas Rangers? How do you start the year with 2 out of your first 3 series against National League opponents? I'm not anti-interleague at all. It works. It's fine. There's 162 games. Most of them are just another opponent anyway, and that's fine. I love MLB. I have no problem with the concept, but interleague to start the year, 2 out of your first 3 series, and your home opener should never be interleague. Can we just try and have some, like I say, common sense or some logic to it? Because that has none of the above for my taste. Anyway, I just 2 out of 3 interleague, including your home opener. No. As a man who loves baseball, am I a purist? Nah, not really. I do like the traditions and the old ways. I think you can blend the now and the modern while trying to fake some of the things that kept it good. But no. Astros, yesterday, they swept the Red Sox. The Boston Red Sox. 6-4. They beat Crochet, one of the top 3 pitchers in all of MLB. Why? Because he hit Yordan Alvarez. Hit by a pitch. And Yordan took it in the ribs. Yordan was pissed. Look, I'm not going to say he's a China doll, but this is a guy who, if he sneezes too hard, he could be out for the year. If he gets off the couch too fast, he could be out for the year, right? And score's tied at 2. Crochet hits him in the ribs. He was pissed. Stares down Crochet as he goes to first. And I think the team responded. I think the team fed off of that. Another highlight of the game, yard work. Carlos Correa goes yard. And you know that was his first homer in Houston since he got traded back to the Astros. It was his 6th homer. I believe it was his 6th total since he got traded back. But all the other home runs he'd hit had been on the road. But it was his first homer in Houston since he got traded back to Houston. You got 5-2 from Burrows. Bullpen till late. Really nice work. Your closer, Abreu, still gives up a run. He strikes out the side, gets the save, but gives up a solo shot. He's had a really rough start of the year. His ERA is 19.2. Strikes out the side, but gives up a solo shot. Because the Astros are up 5-2, 6-3, 6-4. I mean, just a little leaky towards the back. That's why they ended up having to get a save out of it. But in the end, who cares? 6-4, Astros sweep the Red Sox. Astros have won 5 straight. Remember they lost the first 2 games to the Angels? And they've won 5 straight since. Last night's game, Yordan Alvarez takes one to the ribs. He's pissed. Stares down Crochet. Correa homers in Houston for the first time since his return. Oh! And here's the most bizarre thing that happened. No. That wasn't last night's game. My mind's starting to blur. All that matters is the Astros win. The Astros win. They've won 5 straight. What's next for the Astros? Thank you for asking. I appreciate it. Travel day. They're going to go West Coast style for about a week and a half. They'll be in Oakland. No, they're not. That's true. They'll be squaring off against the A's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And look, the A's are such an irrelevant, bizarre. They're going to be in Vegas, but everybody knows not really. So they're playing in a minor league park. Worst owner in baseball. Yes, he is. So they're going to go play minor league baseball park against the A's. Then it's Colorado Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Seattle, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then they're back home. Seattle. Astros have struggled with the regular season. The A's, bizarrely, I feel like over the past recent years, the Astros have struggled with recently. Everyone else feast on the A's. Not Houston so much. But travel day and then Oakland over the weekend. I was reading, someone said, and this is so just worthless, but I got suckered and I clicked it, okay? And it was like the 4 stats you need to know in the first week of the season. And there's nothing you need to know statistically from the first week of the season, but I clicked it. But velocity surgers and which pitchers have had the highest velocity increases. And currently in MLB, velocity is God, velocity is the Bible, velocity makes it so. And what if I told you that AJ Bluebaugh, Astros reliever, could have been a starter? They put him in the pen. He is one of the top 5 of the year. He's up 2.6 from a year ago. He was throwing 93.9. He's popping 96.5. It is the 5th largest increase of any pitcher in velocity from a year ago. And that's the kind of thing that gets scouts and GMs and others extremely excited. So, I'm happy I clicked it in the end, but still, there's no stats from the first week. Another thing, ESPN, who are the top 10 aces, Hunter Brown popped up at 6. They put Skubal and Skeens in their own tier. They put Hunter Brown at 6. Crochet, who the Astros roughed up to get the sweep, they put him at 3. Astros don't care. Astros swept the Red Sox. If anybody sees Timmy Schnettler, tell him that Louie said thoughts and prayers to the Red Sox. Tim Schnettler's a true Red Sox fan. He owns a jersey. He doesn't just, wear a T-shirt. He's no T-shirt fan. Timmy. True Boston Red Sox fan. So if you see him, he needs a hug today. Sure, it's early season, but sweep, especially to the Astros, you can ask Timmy. It's gotta hurt. ESPN every Thursday, ESPN.com, does their power rankings. Rangers 11, Astros 14. Can anybody tell me how that works? Astros are in first, they're 14. Rangers are in second, 11. And you can go, Lou, they didn't have last night's results. No. Rangers are 4-2. Astros are 5-2. The record, they have them listed. I get it. They're like, the Astros lost 2 to the Angels, and that's disconcerting. First 2 games of the year, bro. What do you mean? Rangers 11, Astros 14. I think I'd have to hard pass on these rankings. The beloved America's team, the Chicago Cubs, they're 8, and they're 3-3. Not all schedules are created equal. I'm aware. Your top 5 teams, Dodgers 1. No, really. Yankees 2. Mariners 3. No. Blue Jays 4. The ultimate fool's gold team. The Mets are 3-3 and they still have them at 5. Fool's gold. And the bottom 3 teams, speaking of needing a hug, Angels 28, White Sox 29. And if you know who Matty Stats is, Matt Simon, his beloved, he is a true Colorado Rockies fan. Always odd from day one, but since day one, he is a Rock Paul fan. He needs a hug. They're 30, true 30, will be 30. Man, they stink, and they have for a long time. When we return, up next, joining me on the D4 Land Services hotline, A&M Legend Coach G. We're going to talk World Cup, but Coach G is going to be joining me fairly regularly on the Louie Bellina Show because Coach G could talk about a lot of things, from athletics, soccer, and more. So up next on the D4 Land Services hotline, Coach G. This is the Louie Bellina Show from inside the Charles Schwab studio, Thursday on the Zone.
The Money Machine opens again April 20th. Another chance to win $5,000 from the Zone.
Join now, A&M Legend Coach G. We're going to be checking in with him quite a bit here on the Louie Bellina Show, moving on down the line. And I'm like, whoa, I haven't checked it in way too long. Gee, what in the wide world of sports have you been up to, brother? It's been way too long.
Howdy, Louie. Well, I'm just kind of enjoying retirement, but actually staying really busy. I'm doing a lot with our National Coaches Association for women's college soccer and trying to move that game as much forward as we can in little incremental steps. NCAA is not always very excited about change, so we're working on that. And then just kind of taking care of my old body. I had my left knee replaced a couple of weeks ago. Going to do my right knee in about a month, and it's part of the Steve Austin rebuild job of myself.
I'm so happy you added that still staying kind of busy thing after retirement, because you are never going to sell me on that whole, I'm retired, I'm fishing and taking walks in the evening. I know you too well to think that you could stay still.
Well, I do enjoy walks around town. One of the nice things about, in my opinion, about living in College Station is it's very flat. So the ability to walk, there's a lot of good sidewalks. It's hard to get hit by big stinking trucks, although it's not impossible. And it's in the evenings is a wonderful time to get outside. So I do recommend to all ages.
I will trust you, because you said one of the beautiful things, because I know that Bryan College Station is in Texas. And one of the things I know about Texas is it's still 195 degrees, evening or not evening.
It's all relative. Once the sun goes down, if you were outside earlier in the day, once the sun goes down, it's like a spring, a breath of spring. It's come back to the Brazos Valley, and I'll just stick with that. I'm not gonna...
Okay, we will stick with that. Gee, World Cup is coming up. Just this week, we got the final field. Before we jump into who is in and who we can go see just next door to us, Italy. They just missed out in shootouts. And I can share this with you. Growing up as a kid, I actually watched a little bit of soccer. I was aware of soccer. Italy was a power back when I was a kid. This is the third straight World Cup they've mixed out on. And soccer is a part of that Italian heritage, but that might be fading out here.
Well, it is. It's amazing. I mean, obviously Guerrieri last name, so I'm a big fan of the Italians. And my first experience with the World Cup personally went back to 1982 in Spain. It was really the first World Cup that was televised here in the United States. Now, again, it was on through Mexican television and in Spanish. But to be able to watch Paulo Rossi and those guys, really kind of surprise everybody and win the World Cup. And now the Italians have won 4 World Cups. So they were the last time the World Cup was in the United States. They were in the final. They lost in a penalty kick shootout to Brazil in 1994. But and they have one of the best leagues in the world, some of the most storied clubs in Milan and Rome. But it is in Turin. But it's crazy that they haven't made it. But it also shows about just how competitive it is when you're talking about the most popular sport in the world in all these different countries, and how much countries put into this, and how much the populations do. If you think about, the recent USA sweep of the men's and women's gold medal in hockey, we all became kind of big time hockey fans for a couple weeks. Well, that's the way it is all the time when you're talking about the most popular sport in that country times 132 countries. It's crazy, and the pressure on those guys is unbelievable. The pressure that was on the Italians, they go into they won a match, and then they go to a one game playoff in Bosnia-Herzegovina, and the Bosnians scored. The Italians come back. The Italians have the best goalkeeper in the world in Donnarumma, but when it goes into the penalty kicks, they lose 4-1. 5 shots, they miss, or the shots are saved, and it's pure just guts. And you could just imagine the crying and the emotion back across the Italian peninsula.
Yeah, saw the headline this week. And again, I grew up, Italian soccer was a thing. They won what? You mentioned 82, 2006, and just that they had legendary players that were international, even in the U.S., where we didn't even know soccer was being played. Let's go to Group D. And for those that don't know, that is the United States group in the World Cup with Paraguay, Australia, Turkey. Handicap the United States group for us.
Well, I mean, optimistically, you would hope that the U.S. could get maybe 2 wins out of that and maybe a draw. But the United States played 2 games this past weekend against now 2 of the top teams in the world. They played Belgium and got smacked 5-2 on last week, and then on Tuesday they lost 2-0 to Portugal. Portugal's number 5 in the world. The Belgians are number 9, and I think that exposed a lot of reality as far as that. Where the U.S. really sits. So, it's going to have to be. They're going to be going against it, and this is the group that they're in is a group that they can compete with. But Turkey is a really good team. Now, they were one of the teams that just made it into the playoff on Tuesday by beating Kosovo in Kosovo. But that's a team that we've been smacked by in the past, and they're very talented, very passionate, very smart in the way they play. Same thing with Paraguay. Even though we beat Paraguay pretty easily, what appeared to be pretty easily the last time we played them in a friendly, these are all dangerous games, dangerous in that we could lose. Now, the good news, I think, for the Americans is all the games are on the West Coast. They're going to play. I think they're going to play in L.A. twice and Seattle once in their group matches. So I feel like the U.S. can get out of the group. Will they come in? Will they win the group? There's a reason why we don't bet on sports. This would be one of them because I have no idea.
Now, is the U.S. favored to advance out of the group?
I think before this past week they would be favored that they were going to be favored to win the group. I think that Mauricio Pochettino's team, the way they showed on Thursday and Sunday, didn't add a lot of confidence to that. And but again. Now, we're still months away. There's still time to finalize the roster, bring the roster together, come up with a game model that's going to be the most beneficial to this group of players. So I would still give them the edge that they'll come out of that group either in first place or second place.
We are visiting with A&M Legend Coach G. He's part of the Louie Show, presented by CC Electric. Now, Coach G, going to the World Cup, and people don't have to be a soccer fan. You can just be, I love sports fan. The World Cup is an event. It's just not another game or match, as most people would call it. It is an actual event, and we're lucky because you've got World Cup down in Houston and World Cup down in Arlington. You know all the games in both locations. If there was just one game I could see, what would be the one game I should see? The one game that would give me the ultimate experience, see the ultimate fans from both teams, see the ultimate soccer.
Wow, that's a good question.
I only ask one a day. I saved it for you.
There are a lot of the premier teams that are going to be in Houston as well as in Dallas. So, for example, in Houston, Germany will be there. Portugal's going to play 2 games there, and Holland and Sweden are going to play against each other. The Netherlands against Sweden could be a good game. It's hard to say how many of those fans are going to travel. Up in Dallas, you've got some real marquee names. You've got Holland will be up. The Netherlands will be up there. You've got England against Croatia, and I think a lot of people are probably circling that as the best game in the state of Texas in the preliminary rounds. That's on June 17th. England against Croatia, and Croatia is a team that was in the World Cup final not long ago. And England is arguably, they're at least in the FIFA rankings, they're the number 4 team in the world right now. And of course, that's the team that will have a lot of names that U.S. fans are most familiar with, the Harry Kanes of the world. So I would think that, but really in almost all of these, there's only Germany's going to play Curacao. Okay, it's Curaçao's first time in the World Cup. That might, you'd think that you'd get a good deal on a ticket for these. And that's the thing that's irritating a lot of people is that the only good deals on the tickets are the people who are selling the tickets. And and that being FIFA. And now FIFA has been I'll just say has been accused of being rather corrupt and rather mafia-like, as to go back to the Italian reference. It's irritating a lot of us just pure fans that they're charging so much for these games. And FIFA even gets on the resale market. They even control the resale market, so they get money a few times on a ticket if it goes into the resale market. So that's the only thing that kind of irritates me. Now, the good news is these games, that the first game in Dallas is going to be in Houston is going to be on June 14th. Same thing with Dallas. Those games are going to go. Houston has 5 games, and Dallas has 8 games, including one of the semifinals on July 14th. So there's lots of great opportunities if you want to go and you want to make that purchase and go up and do that. But there's also Fan Fests, and Fan Fests are going to be a greatly reduced price. It's an outdoor. Think of it as soccer Woodstock. There'll be entertainment. They'll be showing the games. So in Houston, they're going to do a Fan Fest where the Dynamo play at Shell Stadium, and then in Dallas they're going to do it at Fair Park. So it'll be a whole festival around that, and that actually for people who are just wanting to kind of get a feel for what it's like to be at an event that the whole world is really watching. The Super Bowl maybe get 180 million people watching the Super Bowl. Well, this gets 2 billion people watching these games, and not just the final, but hundreds and hundreds of millions of people across the globe watching these games. So you would be in the center of the universe for some of these things. And unfortunately for us, some of the best fan groups, their countries got eliminated. The Irish, the Northern Irish, both got eliminated, which is unfortunate. Welsh got eliminated. Like I said, the Italians got eliminated. But there's still some incredible groups that are going to be here. The Netherlands have got super fans. They're unbelievable. The Germans do. My favorite fan group are the Scottish. I mean, they might have a scoop or two of brew before a match. And just the singing. I remember going to a match in '86 in Querétaro, Mexico. It was West Germany against Scotland, and we had the best time. Just being around the fans was an unbelievable experience.
Coach G, I can do a fan zone. I probably can afford that. I don't know if I have like $1,200 to go to England, Croatia, though. So I will probably take in the World Cup fan zone style, find a nice pub that has a pint or two to watch the match at. That's probably my goal for the World Cup experience down in Houston. I might do Arlington because Germany is one of the top teams in the country, top World Cup teams in the history of the World Cup. So maybe if I can make it Arlington way, I can do fan zone experiences. I don't have $1,200 sitting around.
I'm with you. I'm totally with you. I've got a lot of my groups of old teammates and friends are talking about even for the 4 quarterfinal matches going to Vegas.
Ooh,
and there'll be air conditioning and cheap hotel rooms because it's hotter than the sun in Vegas at that time. But just the experience of being, in those, in a live environment, watching games, even games that are going to be broadcast, finding places like that here in town. I know the Corner Bar there on University. They've always done a lot of U.S. soccer matches. I think the American Outlaws supporters group. I think that's where they're based here in town. But there's going to be a lot of really good venues here in Bryan College Station, probably to go and watch it. It would be cool, and I don't know how you work broadcast rights. Selfishly, I think it would be cool if they were to do something even out at Ellis Field. Turn on the big board and sell some of that 12th man lager or whatever the lager of the day is out there. And but again, I don't know how that's.
It's a great idea to explore.
Yeah. I don't have the keys anymore, so I don't know.
Gee, man, I got to roll, but I'll tell you something. I know what you mean. Look, I've done Vegas. for the major college rivalry football weekend. I've done Vegas for big sports weekends. I know exactly what you're talking about. World Cup's the same concept. It is an ultimate experience as a sports fan to be in Vegas for one of those big sports weekends, like the opening weekend of March Madness. It is an absolute great time, especially going with a bunch of friends.
Yep. So anyway, Louie, the invitation's open for you, my friend. And I tell you what, the thing on that is because I've been there for the opening weekend of March Madness, and again, I never could bet because I'm an employee of the athletic department. But the people watching around the sports books is nuts. Just because every free throw, every mop-up time in the last few seconds where a free throw changes the spread if you won or you lost, just amazing people watching, sometimes happy, sometimes not so happy.
The energy. I fed off the energy at all times. Coach, we'll be visiting again really soon. Good luck with the recovery, and don't you dare go for a walk at night in Vegas. You already know the heat on that one. Be awesome, brother.
All right, buddy. All the best to you. Thanks.
Later. Oh, I cut him off. A&M soccer head coach G. Guerreri. And again, he's going to say Happy Easter to everybody. Trust me, I know that one. A&M soccer head coach G. Guerreri on the D4 Land Services hotline. A&M legend Coach G. And we're going to be visiting with him, trust me, from time to time a lot more. He's going to be a regular part of what we do here on the Louie Bellina Show, presented by CC Electric.
Home on the road or Omaha. You can hear Aggie Baseball on The Zone.